Yo, what's up YouTube? It's your boy Damontae bringing you a banger. Don't forget to go follow on my Twitch, please. Here you will never miss out on daily Payday content. Christmas comes early if you're a heister. The Copycat, the new Perk Deck build of Payday 2. Also, be on the lookout for my How to Copycat from a 10k hour player in Payday 2 video that will be coming out shortly after this one. I immediately wanted to make this build in particular because it is something that we've already talked about on stream months and months and months ago, so that's why we had presented this immediately, and it's going to be presented inside of the weekly builds fashion. While there's also going to be a copycat best builds video, and there's also going to be a how to copycat builds video. But these are both going to be in the future, so please look out for them. And the how-to video is going to be more sooner than later, while the best builds video is going to be left up to you guys when I'm going to be making that. So make sure that you vote for the copycat best builds video when the muscle build video comes out shortly, which is going to be soon this month. First, I'm going to go over the abilities that I chose for this build, and then I will go over the rest of the abilities for the actual copycat build. No, I'm not going to go over every 22 of the 9th card. I'm only going to be just briefly touching onto it, but I will be going over the 4 main cards that the copycat deals with himself. The first ability in the deck is named Tactical Reload. You get an auto reload for your secondary after getting 10 kills with the primary, and this is vice versa, meaning if you get 10 kills with your secondary, it will auto reload your primary. And as for the second portion of the deck, I went ahead and grabbed myself the 5% dodge increase. Head games. Each headshot you land heals 10 HP points. So it's similar to how Bullseye is working. You hit a bullseye, it gives you 5 armor. If you hit a headshot, it gives you 10 HP. That is how this works. And as you see inside the film, originally, I was just running around shooting headshots, grabbing myself life regen. The second half of this card, I went ahead and grabbed myself another dodge increase for another 5%. Is this your bullet? Dodged bullets will ricochet back onto the enemy that fired them. So essentially, if you're using a build that has dodge, like this one does yield, you're able to just give the damage back to the enemy that shot you. So if it's a sniper, for instance, for 240 damage, the sniper will get himself killed. If it's a heavy unit, you'll have to dodge 5 bullets to get the heavy unit to kill himself. The second half of this card, I grabbed another 5% dodge increase. Next we have Grace Period. When your health gets below 50%, you'll be immune to health damage for 2 seconds. This cannot occur more than once every 15 seconds. Essentially, like the Anarchist and the Armorer, having 2 seconds of invincibility when your armor breaks, inside of the Copycat, when you're under 50% HP, you're triggering 2 seconds of invincibility as well. So putting it in perspective of the dodge build here, if we get shot and our armor breaks and we get shot to the HP, which is going to leave us at a very low HP value, we're going to have the 2 seconds of invincibility, which will allow us to either kill the enemy and or make it to cover, so regardless, you're safe. And then lastly, we grab Blitzkrieg Bop from the Anarchist, which is allowing us to have fully regenerating armor while being in combat. So essentially we have the continuous armor regen always happening inside this build. So inside the suit, we get a 10 armor regen, which is half of my armor being 20, which isn't really significant, it just is half of your armor. Now, the second part of this is that I'm getting, when my armor gets depleted, getting immune to health damage for 2 seconds, and this ability is actually slightly nerfed. You can only have it occur for every 30 seconds, not 15. Slightly changed from the Anarchist and the Armorer, but still all in all the same ability. So to go over the rest of what these cards are doing, on your first card as you see here, which is the tactical reload and the swapping speed, you have the chance, not even the chance, the ability to swap to an HP increase for 20%, an armor increase for 5%, a dodge increase for 5%, or get a crouching and a bag moving speed increase for 10%. Outside of the four main abilities that the copycat is getting for themselves, the last ability being the mimicking card, which is grabbing abilities from other perks, or things like armor gating from some of the, notable, perk decks. There's armor increases from some of the notable perk decks. There's damage reductions. There's special abilities with the throwable decks, like you get the chance to grab things like the injectors, either being the Kingpin or the Leech. You can bring the Hacker ECM, you can bring the Stoic Flask, hell, you can even bring the Tag Team Vape. You can bring the Sicario Smoke Bomb. The last card literally allows you to just choose pretty much anything, but it's only one thing from each perk. While some things like Muscle might be allowing you to have panic on the copycat, something like the Rogue may make you more or less likely targeted, while something like the Infiltrator is going to give you more damage reduction at medium ranged, while the Sociopath may give you, kill armor regen. This build is using something similar to the ABC Rogue setup, which you guys have seen in the past and or have maybe seen in this weekly build series. It brings first aid kits for the aggressive playstyle and being able to move all across the map with ease. I'm grabbing the AMR-16, which is great for the long-ranged combat, medium-ranged, and close-ranged engagements. It just will lack in picking up of ammo. Obviously, I'm not saying that it's bad, it just needs a secondary weapon sometimes to allow you to regen on your primary weapon. Generally with the AMR-16, I'm trying to play from range and using like one taps and shooting them just in the head alone. Now with this build allowing you to get HP regen on headshots, obviously it's going to play even more for you having this high of an accuracy build with the AR and the SMG. Now, while our SMG is more of a spam weapon, it is more used mostly when we're sprinting across the map, close quarters engagements, and even breaking faceplates off the dozers. And then you want to position yourself some distance, and then whip out the AMR-16. Positioning still is very key in this build. You may seem unkillable, but even then you're still going to get killed, and that's like that for every build. Things like Stoic, things like Anarchist, things like Rogue, things like Kingpin. You get really comfortable, you're going to die. So if you want to position correctly and know the angles that are seeing you and be able to fend off everything that's seeing you, you want to first be in the correct position. Let's go into the skills for the build here. I grab myself Combat Medic going up to uppers so that we can be aggressive while playing inside this build. Next I grab myself Stable Shot for the accuracy and stability increases while grabbing Rifleman. Obviously Rifleman is purely optional and you do not have to grab this. Next we go for Resilience and Die Hard while getting up to Bullseye. Please note that you do not need Shock and Awe because I'm using the Anarchist style of armor regen, meaning I cannot get a increase to my armor regen with Shock and Awe, so therefore just Bullseye. Next we're grabbing ourselves Steady Grip Aced, while also grabbing Hip Fire accuracy with fire control, then grabbing Lock and Load so we can sprint and shoot, while also having Surefire, and this was added later in the build, after the footage. Then we grabbed ourselves Sneaky Bastard, and then we'll show our total dodge being, 35-45 here in just a moment. We did grab ourselves Sprinting Dodge, as I just mentioned, and we grab ourselves full crits, while also having to grab things like Inner Pockets and Optical Illusions to reach this. We grab ourselves the Stability Accuracy increase with Professional and Damage with the High Value. And then lastly, just like the ABC Rogue, we do grab ourselves Berserker for the damage increase while being at lower HP, and this works in multitude of ways with the build, which I'll get into in the tip section here later. And as for the weapons here, you do have a few choices as to what you can choose, but I went for the 100 damage AMR-16. As for that, we go for the long barrel for the accuracy and damage increase. For the barrel, we do grab the bigger the better for the accuracy stability increases. For the boost, we needed a concealment increase. For the foregrips, we do the blast from the past, which is giving you stability and some concealment. As for the gadgets, we are using the compact laser module. As for the grips, we are using the titanium skeletal, which is giving us accuracy and concealment. I'm using the thrust lower receiver, which is a damage increase, but do note that the new mod from this one here is going to give you an accuracy and stability increase at the cost of concealment. I do grab myself a speed pull mag, and I do want to mention with the secondary sight, you can get that one concealment while expending that new lower receiver. So now you'll be at the same concealment detection risk while not losing anything because of the secondary sight change. Lastly, we're grabbing ourselves the Seymour sight, which is just purely optional. You can choose any of the sights. And then as for the stocks, I'm going for the wide stock for the stability concealment increase. And then we grab ourselves the LW receiver, which is giving us an accuracy and stability increase. And as for the Mark 10 here, you have a couple choices as for SMG sidearms that you can choose, but as we were mimicking essentially the ABC Rogue build, we went ahead and grabbed the same weapons. We do grab the bigger the better suppressor for the accuracy stability increases. For the boost, a concealment. As for the gadget, we do grab ourselves the micro laser for no statistical change. We do grab the lower receiver custom built frame, but is purely optional. For the mag, we do for the speed pull mag, which is a DLC, as you know, keep this in mind. So if you need to, just grab the extended. We do no secondary sights, no sights at all, and no stock at all. We just have to, you know, go for the concealment here. But do note that we do have a pretty accurate and completely stable sidearm. So to just point out some things, your armor regens in 2 seconds, just like naturally from the Anarchist Blitzkrieg Bob. And when your armor breaks, you'll have the 2 seconds of invincibility trigger. So you're guaranteed to have armor the moment your armor breaks, because it's just how Anarchist works. And then let's say that that armor gets broken, you'll have another 2 seconds, assuming that they've shot your HP. Let's assume that they've shot your HP in this situation, so that you'll have another 2 seconds of invincibility triggered after that, which will allow you to instantly regen your HP, or I should say your armor, my bad. It'll allow you to instantly regen your 2 seconds of armor after your 2 seconds of immune to health damage for the HP, guaranteeing that you always have armor essentially for every scenario. So if it's running across the map and you get your armor busted, you have 2 seconds to save you. Let's say that doesn't happen. Let's say that you're getting pushed and you get shot to your HP, 1 shot, and now you have that 2 seconds triggered. You get a chance to either kill that enemy, you get a chance to hide, you get a chance to relocate. There's plenty of time for 2 seconds. And as we mentioned, we wanted to talk about the Zerk. Let's say that you're playing the Zerk like I'm playing now, and every 15 seconds I can trigger my 2 seconds of immune to health damage because I'm under 50% HP here, but I'm also shooting headshots, slowly regenerating 10 HP to get myself HP back. So in this situation here, I'm quickly killing the enemies while also regenerating myself HP, while also keeping myself from taking damage from the immune to health damage from the perk, while also keeping myself from taking damage with the Blitzkrieg Bop ability. Zerk with the primary weapon here is pretty much one-shotting things since it's a 100 damage assault rifle, and if you have Zerk at 100%, which nearly you'll have when you're at 5% HP, it'll be a 96% Zerk. When this does happen, you'll see that you'll be able to annihilate things like dozers like in an instant. Generally, when you do get zerked, you'll just want to, position in a spot where you'll be able to defend yourself and kill off the enemies effectively enough to where you're not taking damage and surviving long enough to hit enough headshots to get back to your full HP or get back to 225 worth of HP. The freedom to move around in this build is insane. As you see, as soon as I break armor, I regen armor instantaneously, while also having 2 seconds of immune to health damage. But then if I didn't have armor, or they may have shot me, after the immune to health damage, then I'll have another immune to health damage trigger, and then I've got first aid kits. I can also, try and pick a defensive position and start hitting headshots. There's multiple options in this build, but as you see, you will not die. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do actually appreciate it if you guys would leave me a comment, a like, and subscribe to me if you're new here. The moment that this perk deck came out, I immediately came home after work and started playing it. I stayed up until midnight to make this video, and I will be producing this video for you guys so that you guys can help maybe understand what Copycat is, and maybe you guys can have now one of the strongest builds in Copycat. If you guys are interested inside the weekly build videos, you come over here to my YouTube and you go into the second section here. We'll have a full playlist with all the build videos for the weekly builds.